Okay, so I guess we're here now. All right, guys, so this is happening.
You are fake news.
A superhero who was just created 2 years ago and has barely generated any buzz, even among comic book fans, let alone the mainstream, is already getting her own TV show. Not Static or Icon or Rocket, any of the milestone people who've just had brand new titles launch this year. By the way, I did a quick catch up involving Static Season 1 because I did a review of that first issue earlier this year on Cringe Comic Reads. It left me underwhelmed, but I decided, you know what, I'm going to give it a couple more tries. And like the Joker in The Dark Knight, I'm a man of my word. So I went back and I read it, and side wasn't terrible. Actually had a couple good moments in there, particularly of Virgil bonding with his sister Sharon and his father Robert. The throwbacks to the OG costume from the comics was good with the whole X hat and tights. That was pretty fun. When Hot Streak and Static fight, it's fire versus electricity. That's always a visual treat. Very dynamic posing, great use of colors, effects. The problem I still have is with the characters, though. The story is taking forever to advance. Virgil obviously has the most quote-unquote screen time, for lack of a better phrase, and he only feels like himself like maybe 20% of the time at best. The rest of the time he's either being a broody, mopey teen or an angry, angsty asshole. I'm going to stick around for one, maybe two more issues because it did leave off on a pretty good cliffhanger last time. But that's probably going to be it. But yeah, like I said in my community post, it's not bad. Every few months or so, I'll probably dip in and just see, hey, what are they doing over in Static Season 1? And then I'll just read it, and that'll be that. Not bad, but ultimately not my cup of tea. But with Static, with Icon, with Rocket, these guys have been around for years. They have a solid following. People have been wanting more content featuring them for years, and this is the perfect opportunity to give them that. Do they do that? Do they take any of the mainstays, any of the Vixens or any of the Cyborgs? Well, Cyborg was in Doom Patrol, but who's really still watching Doom Patrol? Seriously. And Vixen has been featured in the seat a couple times in like cameo roles, which several of you have so graciously pointed out back in my Black Superman rant video from earlier this year. Even though I was speaking specifically about the DCEU, but we'll let that slide. That's splitting hairs. Seriously though, I appreciate you guys letting me know that she at least has appeared in some live action form. But we gonna have any of those guys? No? Nah, we're just gonna take the brand new fresh-faced milk drinker who just rolled up on the scene. We have no evidence that she's even popular yet beyond people who are into her for the most superficial reasons, i.e. she's a black girl, so Yas Queen Slay, but are we actually invested in who she is as an individual beyond that stuff? I don't see a humongous audience for her. Do you know what I see? When I go to her trailer videos on YouTube, I see comment sections full of people asking, who is this? What does she do? This trailer didn't tell me anything about this character. Oh, and also the trailers are just cringe, but that's par for the course in 2021. I mean, come on now. This is the line cutters, where you have a superhero who we can just say they haven't put in the work. They haven't put in the work. They haven't built a really solid fan base. They really haven't earned their spot to get such a focus to have their own show. Now, you could have had her show up in an existing show, and if that's happened already, please let me know in the comments. They could have had her show up in any of these current shows that are running, built up some hype, then you give her her own thing. Think about how Marvel often used or introduced new characters in the MCU. I mean, before the current era, because right now, almost everyone is unknown. Or like they're giving them their own shine, but the buzz has died down. The thrill is gone, as the late great John Witherspoon would say. So sorry, Black Widow, you deserve so much better. But think about like how they did stuff in Phase 1 through Phase 3. You would have a character like Black Panther or Spider-Man even. And Spider-Man, who is the most popular, most beloved, and most featured and adapted Marvel superhero. Even he got introduced in someone else's movie before getting his own. Now, there are exceptions to this. You have your Guardians of the Galaxies. let's be real, who the hell was checking for Guardians of the Galaxy outside of comic heads and people who remember stuff like Earth's Mightiest Heroes, that Avengers cartoon? Who was really checking for Guardians of the Galaxy before they showed up in the MCU? So, it can be done, but there's a little caveat to that. But first, let me address a point that I know the Peanut Gallery is going to bring up in the comment section. I can hear him now, just click-clacking away at them little Cheeto dust-covered, dandruff-infused keyboards. Anime, Naomi's a black girl superhero, and you always say that you want to see more original heroes of color and minorities, and this is exactly what you said you wanted. You're supposed to like it. You don't actually care. See, I knew you didn't actually care. I know you don't actually care about representation. I know you don't actually want any black girl superheroes. I know 75% of the roster of both of the comics that you're making right now that are completely original works are black women, but you don't like black women. I can see it. I can tell it. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. Whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. Well, I'm glad you brought that up, friendo. I'll break it down for you right now. You are absolutely 1000% correct. Naomi is an example, as far as I know, of an original black character. She's not adopting the mantle of an existing white hero. She's not a race swap of a white character. She was created 2019, getting a new show 2021. She's been in several comics. She's her own character. Okay. Yes, that is exactly what I asked for. As someone who continues to prefer original characters over palette swaps, that is how it has been in this house, and that is how it will remain to be in this house, always and forever. Shout out to Heatwave. However, that is only step one. That is the first step, the first chapter, if you will, in the playbook to making new dope characters. Give them their own identity. Don't just have them copy and paste another identity. And if you do have them take up some sort of mantle, do something to differentiate them from the OG character, other than superficial things like race or gender. Naomi is not that, which is good. But you did not do step two. Step two is honestly even more important than step one, because step two applies to every character. You have to make it good. When I look at Naomi, and when I look at the response to Naomi, it just doesn't look like she was very well done. It looks like, and I have not read the book, I started the first few pages of the first issue, so I cannot speak from my own experience here as to my own opinion about it, but just judging from the reaction of most comic fans, it just looks like the character is just not being well received, mainly because the character is not very compelling or interesting. Maybe parts of her backstory are confusing. Maybe her powers don't make sense. Maybe has a bland personality. Maybe she's an asshole. And just the fact that so few people even know who she is, which is a great reason why she probably shouldn't be getting her own friggin' show yet. But that all tells me one thing, that y'all at DC did not do y'all's job and actually make this character good. Yes, it's great to have original characters of various identities and demographics and so on and so forth. But that is only step one. You still have to make them good. You have to make them a character that people actually want to read and follow stories about and see them grow and change and watch them struggle and succeed and see how they deal with failure and tragedy and adversity. You have to give us a reason, DC. You have to give us a reason to like this stuff beyond black girl with cool hair. Because guess what that is? That's dope art. That is what you have with Naomi, from what I can tell. You have a character who makes dope art, not someone who people want to keep reading about over and over and over again. So, while it is on the surface what I quote-unquote want, they did not do the second and more important step, which is to make it good outside of the diversity stuff. Now, this show could still be dope. I have honestly no investment in this one way or the other. I don't necessarily think it's going to be great. I'm also not rooting for its failure. It could be the best thing since sliced bread, and I'll enjoy it. It could come out and be a cringe volcano, and I'll have fun laughing at it be trash. I just need for people to understand that step one, make them original. Step two, make them good. And that's going to be all for me today. Thank y'all for watching and listening. I'm Anime, and I'll talk to y'all later. Deuces.